9th of August 2008, the UN Security Council failed to adopt a resolution on South Ossetia. On March 15, 2014, the Security Council failed to adopt a resolution on the territorial integrity of Ukraine after Russia's occupation of Crimea. On April 10, 2018, the Security Council failed to support a draft resolution on investigating a possible chemical attack in Syria. And finally, on February 25, 2022, the UN Security Council failed to adopt a resolution condemning Russia's actions in Ukraine and calling on Moscow to immediately stop using force and withdraw its troops from Ukrainian territory. All those efforts to resolve conflicts and wars were prevented by Russia using its veto power. And this is despite the fact that there is no such state as the Russian Federation among the members of the United Nations.
The Russian Federation as a country has never had the status of a member state of the United Nations in accordance with the charter of this organization, and accordingly Article 25 of this charter lists 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council. Not Russia and not Russian Federation, it's not there. It's still listed as Soviet Union. Let me repeat, Russia has never been and is not a member of the UN. Accordingly, it has no rights to participate and be a permanent member of any UN working groups.
It is impossible to exclude Russia from the UN Security Council. There is simply no corresponding legal mechanism, but it is possible to stop violating the organization's charter, experts say.
Our initiative group developed 3 basic scenarios: the so-called Chinese scenario, the South African scenario, and the Yugoslav scenario. In the Chinese scenario, by a simple 2/3 majority vote from 1961 to 1971, the representation of Taiwan was changed to China in the Security Council. In the South African scenario, they were simply prevented from participating in the activities, believing that they had no grounds for doing so. And the third one is the Yugoslav. It was decided that the former Federal Republic of Yugoslavia didn't exist anymore.
For several decades, the United Nations has played an important role in resolving international conflicts. However, more recent events have shown the UN to be ineffective. The full-scale invasion of Ukraine by Russian troops proved once again that it needs to be reformed.
The situation that unfortunately Ukraine finds itself in will be the impetus for change, real change at the level of the United Nations organization. It's becoming clear for many members of the UN. They need to form an approach to change Security Council and the General Assembly.
In September 2023, the G4 countries called for reforms as soon as possible. Ukraine also articulated 3 initiatives, concrete steps to modernize the UN.
The General Assembly should be given a real opportunity to override the veto. This is the first necessary step. If the war cannot be stopped because all efforts are blocked by the veto of the aggressor state or by countries indulging the aggressor, it is necessary to bring this issue up for General Assembly. Second step, the UN Security Council should be fully accountable to the nations of the world. I welcome proposals by various leaders to increase the representation of nations on the Security Council.
The third step, announced by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, is to agree on a mechanism for preventing aggressions through early response to actions against the territorial integrity and sovereignty of states. Reported by Anastasia Tarnavska, Valeria Nikopelova, UATV News.